This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to the Fully Managed Podcast where we discuss marketing and business tips to help assist you on your business journey. I'm your host, Shannon, Penji's partnership coordinator, and I'm joined here today with a very special guest, David Dayon from Amazon Experts and Ecom Cooperative. Thank you so much for coming on with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So could you start by just introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about you, your work, and how you got to this point in your career?
Sure. A loaded question.
Don't worry if it's long. I welcome it.
Okay. I'll give you the abbreviated version. I started in high school working for Amazon sellers, a pretty successful group of sellers. And that's when I first met Amazon and the whole world of Seller Central. I quickly moved on to an agency where I worked for a few years. And then I opened my own agency about 6 years ago, specifically for Amazon sellers. Agency is called Amazon Experts. And we help Amazon sellers launch on Amazon as well as grow their business on Amazon. We have a handful of services that we offer, and we pretty much sleep, live, and breathe Amazon, all things Amazon. I also have an organization called the Ecom Cooperative that I'm one of the founding members of. That's pretty much an event or content for e-commerce space. We basically connect people and put on webinars. We have in-person events, and we are trying to make an aspiring community for e-commerce and for all Amazon and e-commerce sellers.
That's incredible. Well, I was actually wondering, it's nice that you talked about starting in high school for the Amazon thing, because I was wondering how deep it went, because it seems like you're very heavily involved in Amazon endeavors. So I was wondering, when you started out, was it just something that you became passionate about? Like you enjoyed the trying to think of the wording. You just enjoyed the space and learning more about it. Is it something that you just became passionate about naturally?
No. And so why I got into Amazon begrudgingly. I didn't want to do it. Everyone I knew making money was doing sales.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had an offer to do Amazon and work for agency, it was because of my experience in high school. In high school, I was just looking for a good job that paid well, that, I didn't really care about what I was doing, but it's because of the fact that I happened to have a friend who was launching on Amazon and did very well and needed help, and it was a summer job. And basically I started working for them and learned the ropes. And then when I went to, out of college to go get a job, and they said, "Oh, you have some e-commerce experience," that was pretty much what did me in. Although today I love what I do and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And that cheesy line they say about, you love what you do, it's not really working. I'm quite a big believer in that one, because I enjoy very, very much what I do, and it doesn't really feel like work all the time. Although
Wow.
it does get quite hectic, because Amazon always keeps you on your feet, but still, it's definitely enjoyable.
Well, it's really nice that it's something maybe you didn't start to have a passion for immediately, but something that you learn to love, which is, that's what I like to hear, because, a lot of people are in fields that they don't love. And I think that that's, it's important to be passionate about what you do. And I think that makes for the best work.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's really nice. So, um, I noticed that you had a background in psychology. This is something that I think is heavily involved in the marketing space. I really like to talk about it. Do you think that this is something that kind of set you up for success in a marketing role?
Yeah, very much so. Um, I would say that the somebody who's good at analyzing at Amazon because it requires deep analyzation and the ability to jump in and jump out, especially in the agency world where you're not just managing one business. A lot of times managing one Amazon business can be a full-time job. But jumping into an account, analyzing as much as you can, and let's say I'm taking an hour, and just take that to try to see what can be done. It's like a hyper focused jumping into the account, seeing what's going on, and trying to just start shooting tasks to help the account grow. So it's something that I always think, my history and my origin story sort of all led up till here, even though I didn't really, going into it, didn't think it would. I actually thought I was gonna take it all the way and be one of those guys with the pipe and the couches and the whole scene of psychology or psychoanalyzing. Like I said, I ended up going into just a regular looking for a job, and sort of dawned on me that e-commerce was what I was going to do. But it helps me every day. I will learn.
That's good, and I really like, I like unusual, for lack of better phrasing, backgrounds behind a marketing role because I think that there's so many different areas that do help greatly in the marketing space that people wouldn't think. Because I think I just discussed this earlier with someone actually, about how the marketing space is so vast and you could pull inspiration from so many different places that um it's really fun to see where they come from. I because I think that everyone can be unique as a marketer, and marketing is one of those fields where I don't think you need a natural path to get into it and be successful, whereas a lot of other fields, you need a vast educational background in order to get into something or be successful at something. Not to take away from marketers' educational background, but I think that there's a lot of things that can make you successful, whereas other fields need a very specific guiding role in order to lead a successful career in that kind of thing. So I like marketing because of that.
One of my favorite marketers is Ryan Reynolds. I don't know what experience or led up to him to what he's doing, but anything he puts out, any commercial, is just gold, marketing gold.
Mm. No, I'm obsessed with him. I think that he is an incredible marketer, and he's funny, and I love humor in marketing. It's my favorite thing. I had interviewed this man a while ago who does marketing specifically for plumbers. And I found that interesting because I was like, this is the niche of all niches. Like I talked to many different agencies that are involved in a specific niche, but that was so hyper focused where I was like, I didn't even know there was a need for something so specific. But he heavily intertwines humor in all of his campaigns and specifically advertising. And I loved that because I was like, plumbing is kind of funny. Like there's so many things. I'm sure there's plumbers that are very serious and but I enjoyed that so much because I was like, well, if you're doing marketing in the way that you uniquely like doing it, then the clients that like that too will flock to you and you'll have more enjoyable client experiences, I think.
Sure.
Do you have a specific client that you like working with? Or maybe a
Well,
specific field?
I like all my clients.
Oh,
Um, and,
get that out of the way.
but I there's definitely some clients that I like working with, extra. Um, Typically not really anything to do with their product or because at this point I've sold everything. on Amazon, or have helped sell everything on Amazon. Um, I like specific clients and what they bring to the table with the way that they run their business and the way that they conduct their day to day. I'm always learning, I'm always growing, and I always try to pull inspiration for time management, organization. Some of my clients have taught me more than I've taught them in that area. And I always think that, some of my clients have become my friends without going into names, but I think that, and it's something that any relationship with any business, everyone has work relationships. And I think that it's all about a balance and pulling inspiration wherever you can and trying to come up with something that works. Although I do find that nothing universally works for everybody.
Yeah, of course. Is there any specific scenario in which you figure out how I word this? Um, Without naming names, because of course I know that there's confidentiality related to clients, obviously. But do you ever have an opportunity? Can you give an example of an opportunity where you've learned something that you think has helped you for your entire future for marketing specifically from a client?
Um, it's a hard one. I was part of a marketing campaign for a very big brand. And let's just say that what I learned there, marketing for a brand that had a very big team and a lot of different people with their own angles and what they were bringing to the table. We mapped out a blueprint, and we were able to we were very successful with what we did. It was in a specific category, and we were able to rank the product to the number one spot. Um, and I guess whenever I find something that works and I see that it's a template that can be repeated, I'll do that. That's one of the best things we bring to the table for our clients. We see what's going on Amazon, and we can see if something is successful. And then taking that success and repeating it and basically applying it on a grander scheme. Um, I'm also going to say that specifically pertaining to marketing, there was once a scenario where I was working with a specific jewelry brand, and we had a discount that we authorized. And then somehow there was a double discount authorized. And instead of being, I think, just 15% off, it was two 15% offs. And since the client had about 30 points of margin to work with, it was pretty much losing money. That the double discount took them to a place where they were no longer profitable for the products. Specifically with Amazon, I don't think this works outside of Amazon. And because of the double discount, they actually ranked to the top 10, even I think number one, even in their subcategory. And the listing and the account in general was extremely successful for, I want to say, years to come because of that mistake.
I love hearing things like that.
It's been something that we try to repeat in the future. And I would say that there's a lot of factors that go into, ranking on Amazon, but one of them is price, and one of them is visibility. And when when you put a deal on and you have such a big discount, it could actually really boost the product for much longer than the duration of the deal. And that's what happened. And there's a lot of examples. It's a tough question to answer just because without going into details, I can't really give you the full lesson. And I don't know if I could go into too many detail.
Of course, and no worries. I actually really like the happy accident story, as Bob Ross would say. Of it, I think that no, it's really good to be able to learn from mistakes because sometimes, again, I don't know why I said again because I haven't mentioned this yet, but marketing is a gamble, as I think most people would like to say, and I think that it doesn't just have to be something that's so purposeful, but sometimes something happens that you don't expect and it actually works. And it's nice to be able to learn from that and adjust from that because you're able to implement that into future strategies that you wouldn't have even thought to do originally because it seems like something that could be detrimental or could be negative. But you don't want to experiment on a client purposely because, especially when it's something that's like a huge risk because you don't know how it's going to work out. But it's kind of nice when um, something that might look like a mistake actually ends up working for the better.
It definitely did. Not everybody agrees to do such a steep discount, such an aggressive strategy, but we have seen it work, and especially with product targeting these days, you can really be successful.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. I kind of it makes me think of TikTok, which maybe isn't a great comparison, but I always think about how things are heavily marketed for sales on that app. I don't know how familiar you are with it as I am. Um I I do know that that must get them to a much higher popularity than they've been initially at a different price, and then again, like things like, I don't know, flash sales and stuff like that get people's attention for a product, and then if they miss that period of time in which there's a discount, they still likely are to want it because they see all the reviews and different things like that. So I kind of understand the risk.
We don't dabble too much with TikTok. We are testing the platform out, but we're not yet TikTok experts. So
That's okay. It's not my favorite place. It's it's definitely something that I don't know how successful. I'm sure that there is many businesses that have found huge success in TikTok, but I think there's so many other places, especially more places that are trustworthy to be able to market different industries. And
what I will say is I'm not sure how many men are shopping on TikTok.
Mhm.
I would say it's more of a woman demographic.
That-
Not to say that men are not on TikTok, but I don't know that men are necessarily shopping as much as women are shopping.
that's very fair. Yeah, I think something that concerns me specifically a lot with TikTok is influencer marketing. Because I think influencer marketing is something that is extremely effective in most spaces, and even on TikTok it must be. But I think the more that these are heavily involved in marketing spaces, the less authentic these reviews seem to be, if that makes sense. Where when I see reviews on Amazon, I trust them a lot more than if I see someone on TikTok says they like product. Because 9 out of 10 times I'm sure they're being paid. Um, or they're being given a free product and different things like that. Whereas when I look at review sites, I that are more regulated, I kind of trust that more, if that makes sense. TikTok is a very gray area with review.
Nowhere's perfect though. I find humor. If you ever are bored, Google some funny reviews that they found on Amazon. You'll find all kinds of crazy reviews, and a lot of them are it's not a perfect system either on Amazon. There's manipulation that they had to combat in previous years. For the most part, they have a pretty good system these days, but didn't always start that way. And I remember days where you would see a review and it's talking about an item, or many reviews, and it's talking about an item that's not the product that you're looking at. Like, yeah, so it was like a product that they changed the title and they changed the images. And let's say it was an item that they sold out of and they just kept the shell, and then they changed everything about it. And then the review says, this shoe was phenomenal. And you're looking at a frying pan. It's interesting.
I didn't know that that was a problem. That's a interesting fact.
Not anymore. Not. I'd be surprised if you found it these days, but it was a problem of yesteryear.
Well, that's good. Is reviews something that concern you when you do work with these different brands?
A couple years ago, Amazon came out with Amazon Vine. Amazon's like internal system to get reviews. They charge like a couple $100 and they get you around 30 reviews per product.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much the way people get reviews these days. There were previously a couple of softwares that have been, since then, they've been banned from Amazon. Back then it was much more polluted and much more, you know, the review system was being flooded with fake reviews. But like I said, these days, I think it's down to the smallest level it's ever been.
That makes me happy. I do get a little pessimistic around reviewing. I think there should be some kind of legal implications around um regulating authentic reviews because I don't think that there's two sides of the coin. One, a very good business could have um negative reviews due to reasons outside of their actual service. I know that cancel culture is a huge proprietor to negative reviews sometimes that are a very small thing that comes out about someone that works at a business that makes the business look really horrible or different things like that. And I worry about things like that. But then on the other side of the coin, uh a product getting a bad review that's justified, and then 10 AI reviews that are really good somehow appear right after it, and a lot of people can't recognize when AI is used in reviewing, but a lot of people can, and I don't want to sip the reviews to recognize which ones are AI or not. And I wish that there was more regulation around that, but it's nice to know that Amazon is uh doing better with, the way in which they're regulating their review.
Oh, yeah.
So, what are some difficulties that you think you face when you navigate, like, the Amazon marketing space, maybe that are different than navigating a different kind of marketing space?
I would say the number one thing that comes to mind is inventory. Um, I have a friend who put together a list of the 10 commandments for Amazon sellers. Commandment number one is never run out of inventory. And commandment number two is never run out of inventory. And the reason why they dedicated number one and number two to inventory is just to stress how important it is. So anybody who's selling on Amazon, specifically with the FBA model, which is fulfilled by Amazon, which means that you're sending in, a pallet of units, and then Amazon is shipping them out one by one to the customers that order them. And basically, when you have inventory at Amazon FBA facilities, you need to make sure that you keep the products in stock, but you also have to make sure that you don't overstock it, and you have to make sure that you don't understock it. And
Very
these
difficult.
days, they limit you on storage, and they limit you on your ability to do a lot of things. And one of the issues is just making sure that you always have products in stock, or make sure that you don't have excess inventory. And that's just something that's constant on Amazon. So definitely something that's always going to be a challenge, especially with rules that they keep adding. And now, all the facilities during holiday season are backed up. So if you want to ship something, it could go from a 2 or 3 day shipping time and receiving time to maybe 2 or 3 weeks or even months sometimes.
Wow.
So that can be quite complicated. You have to be very planned and focused and organized for the season. Um, and I would say another thing just to throw in there is the fees and the margins, with being an Amazon seller. That's something that is definitely a growing concern. Amazon is getting more expensive, adding more fees, and it's becoming harder and harder to stay profitable. So two things: inventory and maintaining your inventory levels, as well as profitability and being able to stay profitable and have a profitable business.
Oh, well, thank you, one, because those are both educated me on the space because I didn't know the downsides to having to navigate this space. And for the first one, I was wondering, are there penalties for overstocking
Yeah.
for okay, so how does that kind of work? I'm curious.
It's a little complicated.
Okay. If you don't too much to explain.
A lot to explain. All I'll say is you have to maintain a certain amount of weeks of supply in order to stay, in a healthy inventory position to be able to grow. And then if you have lower than a certain amount, there are fees. You have more than what you're supposed to have, there are fees. The fees vary by products, by size, by category. So throwing out a flat fee is a little hard, but it's definitely something that you have to do properly. Otherwise, your profitability, in other words, you don't maintain your inventory, the profitability is second to go. Because those extra fees typically are the make it or break it for staying profitable.
Huh. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you. Because that's really cool. And it's not cool. That probably sucks to navigate, but it's really interesting to learn about because I had no idea that this was a part of the. It seems like there's a lot of complexities that go into navigating this, especially I can imagine doing it alone. For your own personal business. So, well, it's good that you guys are out there doing this. Um, on the other side of the coin, maybe on a more positive note, is there anything specific that you think marketing the space that you think is easier than marketing in other spaces?
It's the everything store and always open. And your customer base is the world. So I love to say that, I think everyone these days knows somebody or heard of somebody who's, you know, doing telephone numbers on Amazon. Um, and I know a bunch. So the success stories are phenomenal. I know people who've sold their brands. I know people who have launched on Amazon with, minimal investment and are currently sitting on e-commerce empires. So I think that it's definitely a big opportunity. And if you have a product, and if your product is quality and you're willing to give it a shot, it's typically something that I would recommend. If you don't have a product and you're looking to source a product, totally different story. You're more looking at what the opportunity would be and what to start with. But if you already have it, if you're somebody who already has products in the United States and you're just looking for another place to put them, um, I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it's something that we've all seen. Hopefully somebody who's done that and been very, very successful. And it's just easy. You don't have to go out there and get all these accounts and do the traditional grind of a business. It's more about launching properly, being organized, having inventory, making sure that you send your pricing up properly so that you're profitable. And if you sort of check your boxes off very quickly, within the first year or two, you can have a very, very successful business.
So that's really nice. It's like they, to an extent, as long as you're organized, know what you're doing, they're kind of doing a lot of the work for you just to be able to be involved in that space. Well, that's really lovely. I definitely understand that. I think I was, um, do you think, I mean, I guess because you're involved in it, you might be a little biased, but do you think that the different avenues that you have to navigate around fees and different stuff, do you think that outweighs the positives sometimes, or you think that's just like a part of navigating this space, and as long as you figure that out and kind of how to regulate it, that you can
I'm
be.
definitely biased. Um, but I think that every business comes with challenges. And I think that it could outweigh, because if you're not, playing your cards right, if you're being a little reckless and unorganized, you can very easily, turn the business unprofitable. And if it's unprofitable, then there's no future. So you definitely need to have a plan and know what you're doing. You can't, just throw paint at the wall. You have to, come up with a strategy and follow the strategy. And, I guess it's like that line, if you fail to plan, plan to fail.
No, that definitely makes sense. And I knew you'd be biased. So, but no, I definitely understand it. It's a way of, um, as long as you have a good product and are able to navigate the space, it seems like you can be successful as long as you, like understand all of the, different things that could be setbacks before they come up. You just have to be proactive about understanding that, which I feel like is business in general. Starting your own business in outside of Amazon, you still have to anticipate these certain things that could negatively impact you in the future. And I think that that makes for a good business person, is being able to see those things on the horizon, or like see that that might be a potential outcome. So, okay, we have just a little bit of time left. Okay, we're playing a little game. I wanted to warn you. Okay, so some of these are marketing related, but some of them are just absurd questions that I've come up with that I think are fun. So, okay, first one, I'll ask you a more marketing based question. Okay, bad press or no press at all? What do you think is worse?
No press at all.
Okay. I definitely understand, the Amazon reviews, you get a couple bad ones, and then it's really hard to get back up to 5
Well,
stars.
you didn't ask about reviews.
Oh,
But
no, well, I assume those would be related.
No, on Amazon, no reviews at all.
Okay. Okay, well, there's
I was looking into its own rule book. Yeah, Amazon has its own rule.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. How many eggs do you think that you can eat in a waking day?
Probably 4 or 5. I don't know.
4 or 5? I feel like you could eat more. Don't worry.
No, I don't think so.
That's very funny. That's probably the lowest answer I've gotten. I've gotten like 8 dozen. I've gotten 8 dozen is
8
insane.
dozen?
I think they die. I actually think they died. I think they were a little overzealous with that one. I told them
No.
not to.
No. I guess I could. I just wouldn't. You're asking if
If you could, say it was a competition. Gun to your head, how many eggs?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with my 5 answer.
Okay, that's fair and natural and not disturbing. Okay, final question. Okay, would you rather get $1 every time you complimented a stranger, or $100 every time you insulted a stranger?
Definitely $1.
That's the right answer. These are all opinions, but that one I've only gotten 100 every time you insult a stranger, and they were saying that they joke around with their friends a lot, and that would be really great for when they're around their friends. And I was like, okay, that
But you said
doesn't seem that bad. That's true. So I guess he didn't, I'm gonna get back to him on that, because he didn't actually consider the question fully.
You put positive vibes out in the world.
I agree. And I already try to compliment people as much as possible. I think it's important. It makes people's day. And, I'm doing that anyway. So if I'm getting money out of it, that's kind of cool. I feel like I'd feel worse if I insulted a stranger and then also got paid for it. I don't think I'd feel very good about myself.
Plus, we're covered. We have Billy on the street handling all the.
Oh yeah, he can do whatever he wants. I love him.
Yeah, he's good. He's fine.
Okay, well, this is unfortunately all the time we have today, but I appreciate you entertaining my absurd questions, and also giving me a lot of knowledge, because I didn't know a lot about the space. I don't get to talk to a lot of people that have this kind of niche in their profession, so it's really nice to be able to learn from you, and learn if I ever want to start a business on Amazon. Now I have a little bit of background.
100%.
So,
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. And for everyone watching or listening at home, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more stories like this one. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.